We're joined by a good friend of the ACLJ right now, Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida's 6th Congressional District. Congressman Waltz is the first Green Beret elected to the House of Representatives and also continues to serve in the National Guard. Congressman Waltz, thanks for being with us today on Sekulow.
Yeah, hey, good to be with you.
I saw you on Fox News this morning. I want to ask kind of a similar question, which is the American people have asked, I think, over and over, and they're not getting a sufficient answer from the Biden administration, which is the first question is, why should they be so concerned about Ukraine to the point where we're talking about troop deployments, potentially up to 50,000 in one article that was released, and why they should be, even on the surface level, why they should be concerned about what's happening in Ukraine?
Well, I think the two main reasons. Number one, in the wake of Afghanistan, authoritarianism is on the march around the world. And after letting terrorists dictate the terms and abandoning our fellow Americans and betraying our allies, Putin, Xi, North Korea, Iran, they all see an opportunity right now. And if we allow Putin to just walk over Ukraine with no consequences, I think that's going to have even further consequences down the road. So it's a slippery slope argument, and we can't behave like Neville Chamberlain did back in the 1930s, right? First it was the Czech Republic, then it was Poland, then it was France, and pretty soon we had devolved into World War III. But the other piece is Putin fully intends to reestablish the old Soviet Union. And he sees an opportunity now with the weakness that he smells in the Biden White House to do that, and that is certainly not in our interest. Now, is it to the point where we should be putting American boots on the ground in Ukraine? No, I don't think so. But can we be doing a lot more to frustrate, slow down, and hopefully deter Putin? Absolutely. But Biden right now is basically sending strongly worded letters and making tough promises on what he'll do after the fact, rather than taking tough measures to deter Putin on the front end.
Congressman, this is Jay Sekulow. The thing that I am really concerned about, besides the overall situation, is the fact that the United States of America's diplomatic corps answered questions in writing propounded by the Russian government, as if we're in a civil or criminal case and we're answering depositions or interrogatories. And we're the United States of America, and we're answering the Russians in writing their questions? It seems to me to be preposterous.
Well, it is preposterous. And by the way, they just delivered that document to Congress, but they classified it. So why is it classified here in the United States when we put it in the hands of the Russians? And
tomorrow morning or tonight, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And they'll spin it for their own propaganda. Yet we can't reply because they classified it on there. And so once again, we're giving our adversaries more latitude than our fellow Americans. But you're right. I mean, I am far more concerned about what Biden is conceding. We saw this playbook under Obama when Putin invaded Crimea and Ukraine. We saw this playbook under Obama when every time the Iranians got tough, the White House conceded more. And I really fear what they just put in that document. I hope to see it tomorrow.
Congressman, the other pushback we get a lot from the White House right now, any reporter that asks, why aren't we doing things now? Like, why if we talk about all these massive sanctions that can be crippling, why not start putting them into place to show the Russians that we can do that? And my concern is that because we've had a lack of cooperation in Europe and NATO, that maybe we don't have the ability to put those sanctions in place. I mean, that would be very concerning, but that it would just be unilateral from the U.S., and that might not be enough.
Look, I think you raise an absolutely great point. Number one, we should be putting them in place now with a message to Putin, stand down your forces and de-escalate, and we'll lift these sanctions. But I think the bigger issue with the sanctions, whether we put them in place now or threaten to do later, is that the largest economy in Europe, Germany, isn't going to be on board. For sanctions to work, there has to be consensus, and they have to be in dollars and euros. And I do not see the Germans getting on board. Heck, they won't even agree to send any lethal aid right now to Ukraine or even allow their airspace to be used for it, much less put their own domestic population with a new German government in a difficult position in the middle of winter when they rely on Russia for 50% of their gas. But I also think, guys, there's an important point to make here in the context of the Green New Deal, Build Back Better, and this push to just dive into renewables. Germany has done that. California has done that. We've seen rolling blackouts in California. We've seen Germany now back away from nuclear, and it's only made them more reliant on the dirtiest form of gas in the world, which is Russian gas. It's just ridiculous. And now we're hearing that the administration is going to Qatar and asking them to be prepared to pump more gas to fill in for the void after they crack down on U.S. oil and gas companies. It's just idiotic.
Congressman, I want our audience to understand what's going on here. The United States is answering questions in writing propounded by the Russian government. The Chinese gave the United States a list of 3 priorities on Thursday that it has to be met. Those priorities have to be met for continued bilateral negotiations. At the same time, the Biden administration decides to shut down pipelines for natural gas in the United States of America when we were finally energy independent. And now we're going to Qatar and the UAE and these other Gulf state partners to get them to produce more so we don't end up just relying on who? Russia. So they have in 1 year they have successfully put us in a horrible position politically and diplomatically, in my view, Congressman.
And militarily.
Yes.
And for your listeners, every time they see the price of gas going up, every time they see the price of a barrel of oil going up, it's going into the hands of Putin. That cash is going in the hands of the Iranian regime, and that is only going to embolden them. And it shouldn't surprise anyone. We see him massing on Ukraine and the Iranians through their terrorist proxies, launching missiles at Israel and our Gulf allies. This is all because of Biden's weakness, lack of judgment, incompetence. And we, by the way, we haven't even mentioned that we have a Taliban terrorist superstate that fully intends to strike the United States again, all in the space of a year.
And Congress, this is my final question to you. And thank you for your continued service to our country, both in Congress and the military. But let me just say this. Every president faces lots of tough issues. We didn't have to be here. I mean, the U.S. did not have to be in this position, whether it's Afghanistan, Russia, China. This is not the posture we had to be in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. These are self-inflicted wounds. Bad policy decisions, but guys, it's not going to turn around. I don't know how we make it through another 3 years, but the same team around Biden was around Obama that thought the Iran deal was a good
Yep.
thing. The Bergdahl trade was a good thing. Benghazi, Crimea, South China Sea. I mean, the giveaway to Cuba.
Yeah.
The hits will keep on coming.
Congressman, we really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. Appreciate your service to the country, both, as Jordan said, in Congress and also in our military. Thanks for standing with our country. And we'll get through this. We're the greatest country in the world, but we've got some real challenges, folks, real serious challenges. Thank you, Congressman.